Why are we talking about ghosts?
I love
He
it.
got the chills looking at me. He's like, I don't like this shit.
I just leave them alone.
I would
They
not be here at
bothering-
night, though. I'll tell you that much.
11 o'clock, I was here. So,
They not bothering
Okay.
us.
come in peace.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
We are live.
Are we?
I don't know.
Are we?
Not
No.
yet.
Oh.
You gotta do the elevator. Are we doing the elevator sound?
Wait,
this time?
is
Don't do
this...
it.
Oh, that's filming there.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is a
Is
podcast.
this
It's
a good
different
angle?
than.
Huh?
This is different than the
angle?
Socialholic. This
Okay.
is the podcast.
Okay. Okay.
Don't look at. You don't look at the camera. You look at us.
I don't even, actually don't even look at the camera. This,
Okay.
You're just gonna be talking to us.
Okay.
So you could have said like I want to sit comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I'm just not showing my feet.
No. It's like probably chest and
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
if that. Might
Okay.
just be your heads.
Your heads. Yeah, it's just table.
Yeah.
You're good.
All right.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Are you nervous?
No,
She likes to talk,
not at all.
especially about
Not at all.
herself.
I love public speaking. I can talk.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't get that from you.
That day that the
Yeah.
women's dinner. Were you there?
No.
No, he wasn't at the women's dinner.
No, I was at the.
The women's dinner. I gave an Academy Award winning
Oh
speech.
yeah, because she was drunk and she
No.
was amazing
You seemed a
on
little.
the spot.
You seemed a little nervous when you was doing Gabby's thing at your shop after we did the coffee combo.
I was so tired. I literally got back from Orlando
She
the
was
night
sick,
before,
too.
and
You
I
were
was
sick.
sick.
Oh,
So I
okay.
just was not into it. But no, usually
She
it's
didn't
fun.
feel like her. Like that's.
Yeah,
what
and
it was.
I really didn't want to do it. I was trying to reschedule it, but
Yeah.
she was like on an agenda. So yeah.
Okay, got it.
All right.
But it came out nice.
Okay,
I didn't
so
put it on,
can you get a little closer?
Yeah.
I mean, not to me, but
Just
the mic.
to
Yeah.
the mic. Okay.
to the mic,
Is that?
yeah. 'Cause
is
I
that
don't,
good?
yeah, I don't want
Okay.
you
Echo.
I didn't know we were doing karaoke a minute ago.
It was. It was fun. Am I good?
Or, I don't know, are you?
I feel
How,
fine.
how do you sound?
It's a little nasally, but I'm assuming that's just a filter.
Nasally? What's nasally?
I sound like these.
It's better than that shit.
Okay.
Okay. Diana know I get like this.
He gets nervous when we first start. Like he doesn't know how to start. It's like just push the fucking
Just
button.
go.
Just push the button.
All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike, M-I-C to the read. To my left, to my right. It's Amanda. It's you, Amanda.
Hi.
Today we have, hold on, let me start. To my right, I have the lovely Diana from Socialholic. And to the left, I have the lovely Amanda with Sassy Couture. How you doing today, Amanda?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Amazing.
Great, amazing.
So are we on the rooftop or are we in the penthouse?
We
Which
are in the
one?
rooftop. Obviously, we're in the rooftop because we got Amanda here with us. We want a bird's eye view of Sassy Couture and your whole story and background and, just all the good stuff that the people in Antelope Valley doesn't know.
All right.
But how was your day today?
It's
you have a
been
good
great. It's stressful because we're dealing with a lot at the store. Being a business owner, you deal with a lot of stuff, and you just gotta roll with it and deal with it. I was telling her like, I'm on the verge of a breakdown, but who isn't? So,
Welcome to 2022.
so it is what it is. But it's part of being a business
Like
owner.
staffing, it's a store. I'm sure it's all limited selection too because I'm sure stuff is out of stock.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to understand, I'm in competition with a lot of big name boutiques, and it's hard because I have to keep up with them. I feel like sometimes, and that's a big struggle.
I think you should keep up with yourself.
Stay in my lane.
Not stay in your lane. I think you should make your own lane. I don't think.
I think I have. I could say I've
so,
established it. It's
I think
taken
you
time.
have too.
It's taken time.
I've been out here for 4 years, and you know
Yeah.
I'm not a woman. And every time I walk in your store, I get mad because you have an incredible store. I'm like, I wish you had some
thank
men
you.
stuff here. But you have an incredible store. I feel like you created your own lane. You created your own look. You created your own brand. And if
really
I'm not
good to hear that.
mistaken, in my opinion don't mean shit. But in my opinion, I forgot we have a little child in the room. I gotta be careful. But
daughter.
you have the one, if not the best, women's apparel store in Antelope
I
Valley.
appreciate that, and I think I've learned how to, I guess, make my brand because I think when I first started in this, first off, I didn't even know what do you mean? What is your brand? I couldn't answer that directly because I didn't understand the meaning because having a brand, it's layers and layers and layers. It's not
Right.
just, I'm Sassy Couture.
It's
I sell women's clothing.
consistency, though.
Yeah, and I think I would say probably maybe the last 2 years, I finally felt like I've established Sassy Couture now. And it took me, well, it's 11 years now. It took me 9 years to get to that point. And I always think, just imagine if I would have given up 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You know what I mean? And I the light was there.
How amazing.
But it was hard to get to that light and all the struggles. And again, if I make it look easy, it's definitely not easy. Right. I'm also very vocal about, I like to vent. And I feel better when I talk about it. Yeah. So to my small business buddies, I tend to I have to just sometimes just get it out and get their advice and opinions.
And you know, and that's what we're here today about. We're going to talk about the adversity of overcoming the adversities. That's the subject that we're here to talk about. And I know there are 6 types of adversity. I'm probably struggling with 4 of them, you know, because it's a lot. No, for real. And, you know, and it's crazy, like today, and I told Carlos I was going to do this. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about you, Carlos, because you put me through an emotional adversity today. And because every time we do a show, right, and I got to learn not to do this. I can't call Carlos like hours before my show. So right after today's, like we just did the coffee and convo, well, I should say Diana did, right? And right after that, we only literally had like 2 hours to get here and do this show, right? Mm-hmm. I went home, thought I was going to go home and prepare for the show. Mm-hmm. I was prepared for the show, but I was going to go over my notes and just kind of put my mindset into it. But I called Carlos on my way home, and then I didn't get off the phone with him until I was on my way back here. So that's 2 hours of a conversation a day. He put me through an emotional adversity. And I told him I was going to talk about him because he was supposed to be here today. So I'm just like dogging him today right now.
It's okay.
But I love Carlos. He's an important part of our team and our crew, but he did put me through a little emotional adversity.
So what's number 1?
Number 1 is physical adversity.
What do you think that means?
Oh, God.
Well,
you answer.
She
looked at me. I'm like...
Well, I can answer this because I actually have a son who's 25 who has a disability. Okay. So I actually know, not like personally I can't really say, but I've been through 25 years of, you know, his life, you know, watching him go through adversity, the physical part of it. And to me, like, if you met my son, like you would never know he has a disability because he never shows it. Mm-hmm. He has the biggest heart, and he's such a great kid, and everybody falls in love with him when he meets him. And like to him, like he doesn't have it. Like him and his mom, we taught him not to think of it as a disability. Mm-hmm. You know, you're different, and we all are different in some sort of way, right? And that's how he lives his life, and it's incredible. Like if you ever meet him, he shows that. So he's overcome that, you know. So that's what it means to me.
I think physical adversity for me would be like limitations on what I can do physically, whether it's something that you're born with or whether it's something that happens to you throughout your life, you know. And I bring this up for you because I know you were in a car accident.
Yeah, and now that you guys are talking about that, I mean, you'd be surprised how much you have to be physically involved. Well, at least in a retail store. I'm not saying every business. I mean, I can't stand for too long. I can't sit for too long. Mm-hmm. I can't lift like heavy. Like I go to the gym, but I'm not sitting there lifting all this weight. Mm-hmm. I'm just there just for the endurance and you know, to get stronger. But a lot of people don't realize that. If you don't know me, you can't see nothing. You don't, you know, you just think, oh, she's just normal, whatever. Yeah. But they don't know the physical stuff I've been through to get to where I'm at now, much less running a business. Like I can't be at my store on my feet all day for 8 hours. Like there's a chair there and I do sit in that chair even though I get on my employees, and it's not the sitting time because it's different. They don't have that problem. They don't have broken back or anything, but I do have to sit down or if I'm helping customers, if I'm back and forth constantly like on my feet, I'm in pain. Yeah. I'm in pain and I go home and just want to plop on the couch and leave work behind. But as a business owner, you don't leave work behind. Work is 24/7. And even though I make my own choices, I can't just put down my phone and focus on sometimes what's going on in front of me. And that's a big struggle. And I don't know if this is going to be covered, but it's about the balance. And I haven't found that balance, honestly. Yeah.
It's hard to
find it. I mean, and I feel bad because they're all there. You know, my husband's there and it's kind of like I'm on my phone. I'm dealing with this. Oh crap, we got a customer complaint. Oh, this customer's inquiring about this, you know, and wait, why aren't the girls taking care of this if they're supposed to cover? And it's never ending. And it's exhausting. And that physically gets to my body too. Like my body starts to hurt. It starts to tense up. I get tension headaches. And it's definitely very physical.
How long ago was the accident?
It'll actually be 21 years on June 9th. So this time of year is actually really hard for me.
It's a little like emotional.
Yes. I can't say it makes me like where I'm like breaking down crying, but I walk around feeling some sort of way.
But it's like kind of like gratitude, right? For like I'm alive.
I mean, of course,
at the same time, it's reflecting on what happened.
And it hits me hard around this time of year because it's graduation time. My accident happened the day after my high school graduation.
Oh my gosh.
So when I see these graduates, I look at them. I'm like, wow, like they have their whole life ahead of them, and I was that person. And little did I know my life was going to change forever the next day, not even 24 hours later.
So, because I don't know your backstory. What happened? Like, what was the accident?
I was a typical Saturday afternoon. It was literally the day after my high school graduation, and I actually had a big graduation party to go to that night with all my girlfriends and stuff. But at the time, I had some friends that went to a different high school, and we all met up. I was driving because I don't think they drove. I don't remember. And we were just going to go to a movie. It was a 2:00 movie. I still remember like certain details. What I was going to see, I don't remember, but I think it was actually Fast and Furious because it came out June 2001. The first one, the very, very first one. Yeah, because I still remember the song that was playing. It was Usher, You Remind Me. And that single had just dropped. And I had my burned CDs, and I remember the song playing. I remember everything vividly about up until leading to the car accident. So I was just picking up my friends, and we were literally pulling out of, it happened on Palmdale Boulevard. I don't know if you guys listening know where Palmdale Boulevard is, but, and then someone came in front of me and made an illegal U-turn. So I slammed into them going about 50, 55 miles per hour. And instantly, the other people in the car were okay, but my head was literally wedged between the steering wheel with the whole seat completely twisted. Oh my gosh. So that's how my back injury happened, because I was twisted. I had all broken ribs. I had a splenectomy because my spleen was in pieces. So they knew that I needed to get somewhere. So they airlifted me from Palmdale High straight to UCLA, put me in emergency surgery. This time my parents still had no clue that this was going down. And then after surgery actually, is when somehow through my ID, I don't know what they found, but they were able to contact my parents, and they said, your daughter was in a bad car accident. She just came out of emergency surgery. This is before they even knew what my back injury was. Yeah. And then while I was there, they discovered that my back was like severely fractured. So they waited about a week for this to I point to my tummy because that's where my splenectomy was. And then I went through back surgery, and then the doctors at the time, again, I didn't know this, but the doctors came out and told my mom, like, if you believe in God, you need to start praying now because we don't know if she'll walk again. And these are world-renowned surgeons from UCLA Medical Center that said, we've never in our however many years of practice have seen that type of injury, because the way my back was broken, which was like my sacrum, which is right under the tailbone, it's about this big. And it was literally like this. Oh, no. So a lot of nerve damage. They had to insert screws through my hip, going through my back to hold it all. So
that's why.
Yeah, and then they didn't know if I would walk again. So I pretty much had to go through extensive physical therapy, literally extensive, and and that has probably been the most traumatic thing that has ever happened to me. We all go through traumas in life, but that was a physical trauma. That still, again, almost 21 years later, has still affects.
So when they told you at that time, did they ever tell you, hey, you might not walk again?
They did, but not in those words.
Okay.
They said that we have to get strong so you can walk again. And it was like little hints. Me at the time, 17 years old, I'm oblivious. I'm just like, I just want to go dancing. I want to spend my 18th birthday at a club. Like, I'm thinking like that. And then I think it was the realization, actually, when I was in the hospital, I remember I was like laying there, and just everything that I was going through, I had tubes down my nose and my throat and the brace. I couldn't move. I think at that moment is when I had to tell myself, because I already went through both of my surgeries. And I think at that moment I had to tell myself, like, okay, well, I'm here for a reason. because I'm not just another statistic of a teenage person that dies in an automobile accident. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's very common. And I said, so how am I going to get through this? And am I going to give it my all for my like second chance in life? And my mentality had to change. So it wasn't the mentality of a typical teenager. Like I had to grow up in that moment. And I think that's what's helped shape me so much, because I think back to that moment, I could get all the feels. If you put me back in that moment in time, I could feel it so much deep in my soul, how it felt to be in that position. So that's why like I get frustrated when things aren't going right or things aren't going my way. It's like, why? Like I've worked so hard to get to this point. Like, why do I keep having setbacks? Why am I keep getting pulled back? But again, that's life. And I just need to learn how to deal with it. And that's my struggle. Like I was telling you earlier, like I need to learn how to deal with it. Because I think back to that moment and I overcame oh man, like God, I'd never wish that pain on anybody.
No.
But see, that's mental adversity, right?
Okay.
Like, because I'm the
now
same way.
You're
like
mentally,
when
I have to be strong still.
Yeah.
Like how you were saying how I'm passionate, right? How I get frustrated at things. Same way, right? Because of the adversity I had to deal with at a young age. Like my mother was murdered when I was 5 months. So I've been on my own since I was 14 years old in the streets.
I remember you talking about
right.
that. Yes.
So
yes.
everything that happens to me, like you guys always, like Carlos and Diana, they see me now day to day because we work together. So they see the emotions I go through on a day to day. Because when things don't work, like I get really emotional about it.
That's me.
Exactly. And
so
it's
out of control
I'm getting the chills
sometimes,
right now
because I don't know how to,
that.
like, and not everyone can relate.
Right.
Because I can call up one of my best friends, or I could call up one of my best small business buddies. They don't get it.
They think like I just got my...
No. I know.
You can call me.
But,
I get it.
Yeah, but I love the support system I have, but they can't relate.
Yeah,
Right.
I would say for me, it's talking to my husband and talking to family that don't work. That's not an entrepreneur. They have no idea. Just entrepreneur alone. Take away personal things that happen. Yeah. Just running a business alone, half of people don't understand what that is. Like you said, on the phone all the time, handling. We have to. Like if we don't, we lose a customer or a client.
Exactly. My business is going to slowly go under.
Yes. And they don't understand. They clock in 9 to 5 or whatever the time slot is, and they clock out and they're home and they're getting to be able to do that.
And you want to know the truth? There's times I wish I just had that, but then I'm like, no. But then I'm like, yeah.
So last year I had a meltdown. I literally had a mental breakdown last year. I went through this crazy, like, fuck it. Like, I don't want to run my own business anymore. I just want to work somewhere. I want to go.
Thought that this week.
It's so hard. But then I think to myself, because I've worked both corporate and I'm like, but I hate people tell me what to do. And I hate being micromanaged. I know what I want to do. And so I get stuck in like, but then, I worked through my mental breakdown. And like today, he witnessed it. I get a call from someone that says, you have a great reputation. I want to work with you. What's the next step? And then I'm reminded of why I do what I do. I'm passionate. I love to see, in my type of business, when I see my couples married and happy and they're like, thank you so much, we couldn't have done it without you, that's what pushes me to go further. So it's so hard, but they don't understand. So when you have that and then you top our past, our whatever physical history, mental history, because not only did it affect you physical, it affects you mental too, what you went through. Totally. It's just, you're such a strong woman.
Oh, thank you.
You are.
And then you, even like when you was talking about, so you saying that the anniversary is coming up, right?
June 9th.
So every year you get reminded that.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's emotional.
I relate to that because my grandmother who raised me, right, 24 years ago, she passed away right before my son was born. And the thing about it is she passed away on my birthday. So now every year on my birthday, people are like, hey, what do you want to do? And it's like, dude, I don't do nothing on my birthday because I'm constantly reminded, because I don't know what that means. Like, why did she pass away on my birthday? And then we buried her on Valentine's Day. So
now that triggers.
Those 2 days, it just triggers. And
it does. It really does. And I mean, I hear that song on the radio still to this day a lot. And I listen to it. It's not out of like fear, like, oh, I'm going to get in a car crash. It's just like, I don't know why I listen to it because it brings me back to June 9, 2001, but I still listen to it. But maybe it's just how I cope. I don't know. Again, like right now when we were walking up, we saw a girl with her graduation. It triggered me because it was like graduation. We're in June. Look how happy, young, naive, these, eager these kids are. And I'm like, that was me. Because I feel like a part of me was taken away that day. Even my mom, your moms know usually everything about you. And my mom always said, like, you've never been the same since that day. Like, a part of your soul was taken from you. She's like, we've seen you bounce back. You faced adversity. You've gone through it. You've survived it. Missing part. But she's like, there's always that missing part that was taken from you.
Well, your innocence.
Yeah. And it could be because I again, like, I read about it all the time about car accidents, but you always think that can't happen to me. That won't happen to me. And
but you weren't doing anything wrong. No, that's the thing.
No,
like, it wasn't like you were speeding.
I had no drugs, alcohol in my system. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't speeding. There was a lot of witnesses that were thankfully able to witness it and know that, but again, I was just a typical 17-year-old. And, and I remember a lot of people at the time were like, well, you probably, weren't wearing your seatbelt. I said, no, I was wearing my seatbelt. I said, I have a seatbelt burn still on my stomach from it. Like, I was wearing my seatbelt.
Why don't you ask me?
Because I think it's just, it's a stereotype of a teenage driver. I was in a typical two-door Honda Civic. Those were very in, and that was my first, what I mean? So I think it was just like stereotype, like this is who she was. And little do they know that, I was completely someone different, and I turned into, and it shaped me. Don't get me wrong. It's made me so much stronger. So that's why when I have these episodes, I'm like, damn, I need to stop. I need to stop because then I look around just by looking at my kids. I was told I couldn't have kids because it messed up a lot of my inside stuff. And now I have 2 healthy, beautiful children. You know what I mean? And the doctors did tell me that. They said there's a very good chance you're not going to have children. So that was, I mean, at the time I heard it, I'm like, well, I don't want kids anyways. But that was also when I was
I think, and this is just, I've not gone through what you've gone through, so please just take this as a grain of salt. But I think when you hear that song, I think twist it to be like, I'm a survivor. This is a song of celebration of my life because you're here, obviously, and we spoke about this in the last podcast, that if you're here today, if you woke up this morning, it's because you have a purpose. There's something that you need to do here. Yeah. And I think that you went through that, and knowing that you're here today, that's such an amazing concept to think about. So when you hear that song, I know it's an emotional experience.
Yeah, it is just this time of year, especially.
But you're here.
Yeah, yeah.
And look at what you've done.
Yeah, and there's times that I'll even just play the song.
Yeah.
Like, again, why? I don't know. I don't cry. It just listening to it, because I just go back to that moment. And then I still remember my friend was reading an issue of Cosmopolitan magazine. So I see that. It's a trigger. You know, you go to the grocery store and you see Cosmo, you know what I mean? Because I remember her, like, flipping through it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was sitting on the floor of my car. Like, you just remember little things. But again, like, I don't sit there sobbing. It just brings back feels, you know. But we don't need to keep dwelling on that. I don't want to take up more time.
No, I mean, because...
I know, I feel like we covered...
Yeah, we covered all of it. Well, okay, let's talk about Sassy. How did that happen?
Okay, so, again, I think it was one of those things, because before I was even... Well, after I graduated college, I got my women's study and sociology degree. After I graduated, I kind of, like... I thought I always wanted to work with kids. It was something I wanted to do even before my accident. But on the back of my mind, I always knew I wanted to own my own business. At the time, I didn't really know what. I just knew I wanted to run my own business because I do come from a family of business. And it was just, I felt like I want to do something. But I also want to do the whole children thing. I point there because my daughter's sitting right there. But again, I didn't really know exactly what. So right when I was graduating college, my friend who worked with special needs kids said, hey, I know you're going to school for all of that. Why don't you come join me? Sure. I was 21 years old, started working with autistic, schizophrenic. Like it was a wide variety of children that had special needs.
21?
Some severe. Sorry?
You said 21?
I was 21 when I started.
Okay.
I graduated my bachelor's at 21. Yeah, and going back to that, I actually started at Antelope Valley College in my wheelchair. That's how determined I was. I knew I was going to still go. So I started there in my wheelchair. I can't say it was a happy time. That was a very, very, very hard time, but I had a plan. I said I knew I wanted to finish. I wanted to transfer out in 2 years, get my bachelor's in 2 years. I had a plan, and I did stick with it. And it was a struggle. It was hard. I was talking about facing adversity. That was difficult, to be get wheeled around. I had my best friend at the time, Virginia, wheel me around, and it was rough. I mean, I remember going to math class. All the desks were high, and then she wheels me in, and I'm just like staring. I just started bawling because I'm like, well, where do I go? I can't get out of my wheelchair. I couldn't walk. So the teacher, like, in front of everybody, I have a small desk, was like lugging and puts me right in the front next to him. So I'm in my wheelchair, sitting
Spotlight.
there, and I, but just I'm just saying, like, that's kind of what I went through. But I also knew that I'm going to stick with my plan.
Yeah.
I'm going to graduate in 4 years with my bachelor's degree and my associate's degree, and I did it in 4 years. And so right from college, I started working with autistic children. And I mean, I did it. It was a job. They started me off, I think at the time, minimum wage was like $8. They started me at like $18. So that was a big deal. I was like, okay, I'll take that. So I started, this is back in like 2005. So it was a while ago, but I started, doing that, and I didn't feel like it was fulfilling me. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know these kids needed us, and I wanted to be that person, but I came home, kept telling myself, this isn't my second purpose in life. Like, maybe it's just for that time being, when you have seasons for things. Maybe it was a season to help those kids that I helped in that given time. So pretty much, I kept thinking, what can I do? What will make me happy? So to be honest with you, the way this started, so late 2010, early 2011, I was at our mall, and when Forever 21 was there. You guys all remember Forever 21. And I mean, that was our go-to spot. We had no other clothing stores really besides Rave, but that was a little bit. Remember Rave, Wet Seal, Contempo Casuals? But that was more like when we were like in our early 20s, it was more Forever 21. Yeah. Like literally. So I walked in there one day. I was on a mission looking for stuff. I walked through that whole entire store. And I said, there's nothing in here. And at this point, I was already, and the Kardashians were getting, had their stores. I love Selena. She had her little boutique. So it was always in the back of my mind, boutique, boutique, boutique. But after walking out that one day, I still remember, I said, I'm going to open a clothing store. That's what I'm going to do. And I literally just started doing my research. And I literally went back to the mall, but not into Forever 21, and I went to the leasing people there. Because at the time, I didn't know nothing about nothing, okay? I didn't go to school for that. I didn't go to school for business. I had no clue. It was just me and good old Google and researching. So I went to the leasing office in the mall, and I said, do you have anything available? I want to open a small business. And, they said, we do. It wasn't the best location. Again, it's actually the nail salon that's in the mall. It's with the claim jumper entrances. That was my old location.
Oh, okay.
So I went in there, and honestly, again, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just winged it all. I mean, when I say I wish I had learned, I wish I knew what I knew now, and somebody would have told my young, naive self then, I wish I would have had that, but I didn't. So I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. I had to learn just about overhead, about profit, about employees, about payroll. I mean, there's things that I was learning as I was going.
But do you think if you wouldn't have opened that store, you'd be as successful as you are now? I mean, you think about it, because you jumped, right? Like the video of Steve Harvey or something, like just jump. Like no one's ever 100% ready, right?
No, I was not. No, we were never ready.
All the knowledge you gained.
Yeah. Oh, like, I mean, it's again. I look back and think like, why did I do that? Why did I do this? But it was all learning because I won't repeat that same mistake. And then I've learned. It's interesting because, I had several employees because at mall you're open 7 days a week, longer hours. So I learned a lot about employees, about my standards, my expectations, and that's why what I'm going through now, I feel like I'm back to where I was 11 years ago, but I'm going to stick with my expectations. I'm going to stick with what I need and what I want and what I know will work for Sassy. And I learned I can't settle. And I settled a lot in the last 11 years for my other business choices. I would say I settled a lot. And that's where I'm like, I can't be settling anymore. Like I've been 11 years in this already. Like, no more settling. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I kind of, and I'm not just talking about employees. I'm talking about with everything when it comes to business. Yeah. And it's learning to say no.
Yep. That's so hard for me. I'm still struggling.
I can't say no.
That's my problem.
I want to make everybody happy because I want people to be happy, and that's
and I can't, and I feel like I can't be stern.
Yeah.
Like I know what I want to say.
Or when you do, you come off like a bitch or you're mean. It's like, why
and
is
I don't
that
want people
mean?
thinking that of me.
Like, I run a business and it needs to be professional.
But I don't want anyone to think I'm a bitch because I don't think I am. I mean, again, just do what I ask, get it done, and we're good.
But I think that a lot of it has to do, because I think this is a struggle across the board right now with the COVID. These people had like 2 years off or on unemployment, and they're coming back into the workforce, and they're like, it's shock to them right now what's being required. And it's like, what were you doing before COVID? Because you literally were working probably harder.
I just was discussing with the customer today. I feel like COVID enabled these kids and their entitlement is to that generation when 19, 20, no disrespect.
They have no idea.
They'd have no clue. And and I've even been told by people like, well, it looks like such a pretty store and looks so fun to work here. I said, it's fun. Yeah. I said, but it's work.
Everything's
it's
work.
a working, paying job. Like there's work. You're not going to sit here and twiddle your thumbs. There's work. Yeah. And I don't think that generation truly understands it.
They don't. And the parents aren't teaching our kids. Oh, let me say this because my kids know, but I think as parents, we need to instill responsibility and work ethic in our kids. I agree 100%. My daughter used to be a manager at McDonald's in San Clemente, and she'd say, Mom, like some of these kids don't even know how to sweep. They don't even know how to use a broom. And I'm like, my kids know how to, I was very strict with them.
My 7-year-old goes in there and cleans.
Yeah.
No joke.
And it's like...
It's what we're doing, have her do at home. Like, we have them do little chores. It's just teaching them little things. Yeah. And trust me, it goes a long way. You know what I mean? I'm so scared for this generation. What are they going to do? I don't know.
You can't afford a house.
I tell these girls, I said, well, good luck. Yeah. Because I don't know if you guys can't handle this, then I don't know how you're going to handle it. But they'll just have to learn.
I mean, even Elon Musk, they interviewed him, I think yesterday or this morning. He's having problems because he wants everybody to go back to the factories. Like they talked about that this morning. And so he gave them an ultimatum. Like, he was like, either you go back to the factory, back to work, or go find another job.
Yeah. And what do?
They're fighting him on it. They're like, well, we do more work. We do more productive work at home, they're trying to say. Okay. And he's like, well, go lie to somebody else because I know that's not true. Yeah.
And he probably knows his stuff.
Yeah,
so,
and he does.
I mean...
And he said that's why he lives at the factories, because he's trying to show an example. He said, if I would have never lived at the factory, because he literally do live at the factory, he said that Tesla wouldn't be what Tesla is today. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to show them that. But like you said, it's this generation that's like trying to fight him on it. Like,
I wish you guys could like have a reality show up in my store, because you would be like, you would be in shock. The stuff that I'm told, the stuff that I see, the stuff.
I've heard some of it, and I'm just like, oh, hell no. And I've been hiring too, and it takes a special person to be able to coordinate a wedding. I'm sorry, I can't pick up some just person out of high school. It's like, I think it looks fun. No, like, I need you to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I'll tell them that prior. Like, I'll be like, you're on the probation trial period. I only say about 2 weeks to a month. There's a lot of businesses that go up to 6 months on probation, 90 days, whatever. So I say, like, this is what this entails. Like, when you're here, this is what I expect. Again, it's not like horrible work. You're in a cool environment. You're talking to customers all day. But I think from the outside looking in, they don't think it's work. And,
because it looks so cute.
I mean, yeah. And
I mean, you're in a hard business anyway, retail. Like, that's such a huge turnover when it comes to employees. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you're a super cool boss, super cool person, right?
I try to be.
Your shop, like, I was about to call you Vanessa.
I know you were. I heard Vanette. I'm like, wait, what?
Diana.
Who's Vanessa?
I don't know why I got. That's a whole nother podcast. Okay. But like Diana was saying, you just made me lose my train of thought. Oh my God.
Well, I love shopping there.
No, your shop is cute. That's what you were saying. Like, you have a
From
dope
the outside
shop.
looking in, it's like, dang, this is nice.
I would love to work there. Like, it looks fun.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just, again, just do what you're told.
But so the whole thing is what? Like, coming in, you need a sticker or like tag things, fold clothes.
That's not even every day. That's only like once or twice out of the week is the inventory part of it. And the rest is just keep it like tidy. Like if you see like a stain on the floor, get them up.
And that's a problem?
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. And I think that's just being a real and 100%. I don't know what is making this so hard to keep employees.
Your shop is already clean and neat. Like it's not that much to clean.
I don't know.
I think it's definitely the time we're in. Because I mean, I hear this from everybody that owns a business or owns a retail, and the quality of people that are coming in is like, what the where's everybody that was off?
But also this generation, they want weekends off. They hate closing.
Even older generation, like even the ones that are coming back.
Like our generation?
Yeah, they're coming back with different mindsets. Like I've been working at home for 2 years now. I know what I can do, and it's like I only want to work part time now. I only want to do this, and I
get it. Like weekends is our family time. Yeah. But if I'm interviewing you at that moment, and I said, "This is a weekend job. This is a weekend job."
Like, okay.
That's what but then it comes like, oh, well, and I get it. Stuff comes up. Yeah. And that's the thing. I've never denied a day off. If I try to work it out, I'll switch it around with the girls. Like, and maybe that I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Because I feel like I'm not, like you could look at me, oh wow, she's like a boss babe, she's a badass boss. But there's times when I don't feel like that. Yeah. Because I feel like, am I failing? Like what? And even this week alone, you guys, I question I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah. Like, why can't is it me?
It's not you. I think your best employee is going to be that girl that wants to be you because she's
Sama.
She's you know Sama. What I mean? Yeah. Like, she's going to learn so much from you, and at some point, she's going to open up her own store.
Yeah, and she got and like I've helped. Like molded her, right. She could, if I left for a month, she could run that she could even go buy the merchandise. That's how well she knows it. And I know I'm not going to always find, and I will say this to be fair, she is part of that younger generation, but she has an amazing work ethic. Yeah. And she treats that shop like it's her own. Like when I'm going through it, she's going through it with me. You know what I mean?
But that's hard to find.
And it's very and I'm not comparing everybody to her. I'm not, because that was a special gem. Yeah. But the others, it's like, okay, this is still a paying job. You still have your tasks. Complete it, do it. I don't need to get on you. I can leave you alone. Just handle it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to ask.
It's not. Like I'm saying, it's just the time that we're in, and
I wish all them good luck. Not even the ones I've never applied with me, but that generation good luck, because it's not an easy road out there.
So with that, I mean, because our topic is overcoming adversity, right? And obviously, apparently, you went through a lot of adversity. You went through a lot.
Yeah.
For this generation, I mean, what type of advice would you give them?
To this generation that we're talking about?
Yeah.
That you have to have some sort of work ethic. You do. Like you can't look at it, so if I'm only getting paid, I don't know what people get paid, but minimum wage right now for small business is $14 an hour. So if you come in there with a $14 mentality, then you're not going to come out with $100 million mentality. You see what I mean? Because that's your mentality. You're not putting yourself up there.
You got to have an ownership mentality.
Yeah, you got to walk in like this is my job. I want to do well. I want a raise. I want benefits. Our bonuses, whatever. I want my boss to see that I care, that I want this, that I'm willing to work. Like that's what you need. And again, I don't expect these young girls to come into my store and make it their lifelong dream or goal. There is room for growth. I mean, look at Salma. Yeah. Salma started as a model. Then she was just a sales associate. Now she's like the head manager. You know what I mean? And she's 23 years old, just turned 23. So it's like, it's possible. But it's just your mentality. Like, what are you going to tell yourself? I don't care if you're working at McDonald's or if you're working at Sassy Couture or if you're working at Victoria's Secret. You have to have the same mentality.
Yeah.
This mindset. Yeah. Even like when I first met Selma.
Yeah.
Like she's incredible. Like met that day I first met you.
But I thought, Coffee and Convo?
Yeah. I actually thought she was you.
Everyone does.
Right.
Everyone asks her, wait, are you the owner or is the other girl? Or they'll ask me, is the other girl the owner or are you the owner?
Right.
So because it's because she goes in there with not just like, I'm just going to half-ass this. Like I'm going to give it my all. And she has given her soul to, you know what I mean?
And
it
you
shows.
see that pattern. So if they were to go in, this is advice for the younger generation as well, is if you look at it as a learning opportunity to gain experience, you could change your life. Because if you went in there,
Totally.
you know, like if you go in there with this mentality, like, oh, this is just a job to pay bills, you're not going to go anywhere, because no one's going to empower you with any type of higher responsibility until you change your mindset. And I think that's the hardest thing to get through. And I wish they offered this in high school. I wish they offered
the
classes
things that we
on
need to know.
Mindset.
Yeah.
How to be positive outlook on life.
And
that would include all of this.
And this is the real world stuff that we need. Yeah. And again, I think it starts within home sometimes. I'm not blaming all the homes, because we all come sometimes from homes that is that the ghost? I had to, you guys.
He's not bothering us.
I'm really into like hauntings and ghosts, and I walked up. Sorry, I know it's off subject, and I was like, Diana, is this place haunted? And she started telling me little stories, and right now there was some door slamming, so I don't know.
He's not happy. He's mad about the work ethic as well.
The work ethic
like,
is
damn
not
right.
Anyways,
that's right.
So let me ask you this question, because I want to ask you this question, because obviously we just came through a pandemic.
Yeah.
And so from a financial adversity standpoint, how did you survive that?
Okay, so this is gonna blow you guys away, but during March, April, May, probably the 3 most critical months of the pandemic of 2020, March, April, May 2020, were my best months ever.
Really?
Swear.
Okay, so
everybody's shopping online.
Everybody shopped online.
Everybody, even my locals, and either they would literally pay for shipping, or they would literally come, because I was at my old location. They would pick up, but the social distancing, I would literally throw them the items over the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
And because remember, at the time, everybody was home and online shopping. You couldn't even run to Target. And remember they closed off the clothes section in Target.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that, but you couldn't
go anywhere.
Yeah, you couldn't go anywhere. So no, my online sales were banging, and that's when I knew I survived that pandemic. Then I for sure as heck can survive anything. And I knew that my business was here to stay after going through that. Because if anything, I was very scared. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh dear, like this is not going to be easy. And no, I got some record numbers during that time, and I was very, very happy. And it was amazing because I didn't have to pay for overhead. I didn't have to pay for labor. I was saving money and I was making money. So it was all good.
So during the time though, because I want to talk to small businesses and people that are struggling with their businesses. In the beginning, like you said, you were scared, right? So did you have a plan in place, or did you?
No.
Just jumped in.
You was just
no, and I think a plan is important. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I don't even have a plan now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, I said I would never go through something again without a plan. Yeah. So no, I think definitely you need a plan, because if not, you're all over the place.
Right.
And I was, and sometimes still all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I have to come back down to planet Earth and be like, okay, Amanda, like you have to execute. You have to set this. You know what I mean? And yes, that would be a major advice to anyone that's in business now, just started or about to start. Set up a plan. What are you doing? What are your goals? Know your numbers. Know your profit margins. Like know your gross numbers. Like those are things you could have asked me. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like seriously. And I don't care. I was college educated and I didn't know. Well, what's the difference between a gross margin? And I didn't know all that. Like
why does it matter?
Yeah, and I would Google it. I'm like, oh, that's what that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but those are things you need to know.
Thank
you have
Google.
to, but you have to know these things, because how can you run a successful business if you truly don't know what you're making or you're spending or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think having a plan is very key now. We are learning.
It's 1,000% key, and if you don't know how to do a plan, then connect with people. Again, the internet is amazing. Sometimes YouTube even has amazing things on there, believe it or not, about business. So
one thing. So before I got into entertainment, and I was talking to your husband Diana about this last night at karaoke, because we was talking about. Not knowing how to do something, how we was talking about even him, how, sometimes he stretched the truth a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So right before I got into entertainment, I had a graphic design company, and people used to ask, like, Mike, can you do something? And I told everybody yes. I never turned down a job. I didn't care what it was. You know why? Because I said, okay, when do you need it done? And they'd be like, oh, in about 2-3 weeks. I said, okay, cool. I got a week to Google or YouTube it and learn it. Then I got another week to do it. Right? Yeah. So and that's how I actually became really good at 3D animation and stuff like that, because I took on all those jobs and I had no idea. But since I had a graphic background,
it till you make it.
Right. But I knew the basics, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew the basics of Photoshop, After Effects. I knew the basics. I just didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I know how to do that. Easy. Yeah, I had it done in like 2 weeks.
And that's how I kind of felt. Like I knew the basics enough to be able to do it and to survive year after year. But again, there's things that I look back on that I would have done differently and not said yes to. That's a big thing. It's not.
I learned how to plan a wedding off of Google.
Yeah,
my first wedding.
Yeah, and again, I got to know a ton of small business owners, not all boutique owners or retail owners, but it's nice to get their feedback about stuff too, because they're still business owners, so they could help me or give me advice
it's nice
too.
To be like, I'm not alone.
Yeah, and that, but that just started for me the last few years, because I feel like our little clique. Wait, is it on?
Yeah,
it feels like it's. Did it die?
No, what?
Can you guys?
I hear you. You don't hear yourself?
You don't hear yourself?
I mean, I could hear you guys, but not through here anymore.
Well, maybe your headset.
Did it die?
No.
The ghost.
Oh, there we go.
Like, I could hear you. Sorry, I'm just saying, like, I could hear you guys, like, talking, but I can't hear what I was hearing anymore, and I can't hear myself.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
You can take it off. Whatever feels more better to you.
Whatever.
Will
As long as you can hear us.
Oh, I can hear you fine.
Yeah. As long as you can hear us.
Yeah. I forgot what we were saying. I got distracted with the ghost.
Dang it.
The Ghost City. So you guys gonna keep talking about this ghost.
Okay,
Okay,
what was I saying?
So the whole community. So I know I barely met Amanda like
2 years ago. And that's what I'm saying. Like in the last 2 years, I would say is when I connected with all the small business people. Besides one or two of them that I knew prior, it was like all of a sudden the small business community just grew, and we were all like, now we're all legit close.
Yeah.
But we've also helped each other and grown together. Like I've seen all of our businesses grown so much from even 2 years ago, like your business, you know what I mean? Like, and several others. So, so I think the small business community, it's super important. I love that we have that here. I don't think a lot of people have that sometimes, and regardless of where they live. And I think we're really lucky and we should be blessed, or we are blessed to know that we have that, because I don't feel people have that support.
They don't.
You know, they don't.
I think this is such a big community, but with a small town feel, because literally you can go anywhere and be like, and see someone you know. Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend that owns a boutique in Nebraska, and she's like so intrigued by like, wait, what do you mean another pop-up? How do you know these people? Where do you find these people? How do you do this? And they don't have that.
Ghost again.
We're going to have a paranormal investigation after this.
Did you bring your meter?
Brought my phone. I could get those orbs. No. Anyways, sorry.
No, that's fine.
But I would say I think I knew you or something before the pop-up, but I truly met you at the pop-up. It was that first pop-up at that house, like right around the corner from my house. It was through Jeannie. It was the Desert Creatives first pop-up.
That was in February of 2021.
2021, you're right.
But no, I knew of you before that, Diana. I'm telling you, we met in 2020.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I don't know where.
No, that was in August.
No,
April.
No, Desert. No. The first one was February 2021. That's when it was super windy that day, and my clothes kept falling.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my little flower cart.
Yep. But you were towards the house, so you were a little more protected.
Yeah.
But we were like more out and like.
I feel that was like in 2020 though, because we did like 2 pop-ups at your house.
That was right after though. That was all 2021. Yeah. But I had met you. I know it was. I couldn't tell you where, but it was for sure before that. Because I already knew who you were. Remember, I went up to you. I'm like, hi. Like we weren't close or nothing, but I knew you. Yeah. And I knew you like Mariah Carey, and we were already following each other on social media. But I knew I met you prior.
Okay.
Because you were like one of the only ones like out of my local people that love Mariah Carey the way I do. Yeah. So I remember your post about it, and I think we connected more through that. And then, but as far as meeting, it was like
later. Yeah, that's so cool. But that feels like I've known you for like 12 years,
I know.
20 years, something like that.
I'm like, that's how I feel with all you guys.
No, and I was just telling Diana on the last show that, I've been out here for 4 years. And like I try to get with a group of people, and I met a couple of cool people out here.
Yeah.
I don't want to like be negative about it.
Yeah.
But they wasn't as tight as the circle that Diana has been introducing me to, like you, the Rainas, the Ernie's, the Andreas, people like that. And ever since I met Diana and she introduced me to your guys' circle, everybody's been so welcoming. Yeah. Like, so over the past 6 months, like everything's just been so great and welcoming. And I'm so happy to be a part of this like little circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's important, especially being a small business owner, because when you feel you have the community behind your back, it makes a world of a difference and the support.
And I love the fact, like Diana always says, community over competition. And I just love that hashtag, and I see it.
I see it, but I wish more people lived by it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where
and I think it takes time educating, and this is why the podcast is so amazing.
And I think like, you could talk about it, but be about it,
right.
And I still don't see it fully. And that's another thing that's hard being a business owner, because you truly don't see it or feel it from certain people. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go into that, but I do. It exists.
I want to know, like, so what else could we do to like get more people involved in community?
Over competition. It's education, obviously. A lot of people don't know how to be a business owner in the same industry as someone without stepping on toes. They don't know how the respect part of it. And it's hard. Even in my industry, I deal with it. But I think also you have to come to realization, and I feel like I've been working on this myself, is some people just will never be there, and they'll never be part of that community over competition. And I have to just keep moving. I cannot let those people dampen my wins and my growth, even though it's like,
and I think like, if you're in the same thing or not, I think you still have to have a mutual respect for the person that started it, the pioneer of whatever it is. And I feel like the OGs or whatever, like again, no one has to put me on a pedestal, but I started my boutique when there was no boutiques here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I brought something to the Antelope Valley that we needed, that we didn't have. Yeah. Right. And I've seen many come and go. I've seen many that are still around. Good for them. I wish them well. But I feel like sometimes you don't get the credit that you deserve. Right. And I'm not, again, no one has to put me on a pedestal and tell me this, but it kind of feels good when people tell you like thank you for bringing a clothing store to us, and the magnitude of yours.
Their path easier.
Yeah, and but a lot of people won't give you that credit, and that's when you kind of get to the haters, and that's when you kind of start feeling some sort of way, because you're like, well, what's the big deal about saying good job? Yeah. And, what's so hard about like following?
They probably feel weird, and that's what I look at.
But why feel weird?
Because they feel like they know that they're in your lane and they're trying to get on that lane,
but
and instead of
accepting, it's so much more obvious. Yeah, just be cool. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But even like you just said, you created your own lane. You open doors that is now easier for like young women like your daughter. When she grows up now, not saying she could take over your store, but if she wanted to go open her own.
But she's learning too, and she's seeing, and that's one thing I'm trying to teach the kids is not everybody's going to love you. You're not going to be for everybody. No. You're going to rattle people's spirits.
And that's okay.
Like we might be rattling a spirit now, but honestly, at the end of the day, I just feel like credit is sometimes not given where it's deserved. Right. And that it's disheartening for me, because I will give person the credit if they deserve it. Especially if I see something in someone or if I'm proud of them, I will tell them. I will support them. I will tag them. I will post them. I will share them. I will follow them. Yeah. Those are the best ways you can support a small business and show that you have love for them. But there's just some people that refuse. Like they probably like go to your page and they want to hit that follow button, but they won't do it.
Well, it's that there's a couple of things right on Instagram that says that you might have a couple of likes, but your stories are blown out of water, and it's like you're watching me, but you're not supporting me.
Yeah, right.
The same thing goes.
And that's real life, though.
It is. And but I think there's that quote too that says you have to realize that you clapping for yourself and you giving yourself praise is the only thing that matters. So I get you.
No, and sometimes you are your only fan at that point. Like you're the ones giving the pats on your back.
There's a lot of changes in this Antelope Valley that started since I got here. Yeah. And I know that.
Yeah.
But I don't always get that either. Yeah. But that's okay. Because I know it.
Yeah,
I know that before I came, there wasn't a whole lot of shit happening, and now there's a lot of things that are different.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Whether I get the recognition or not, it's hard though. I love it when someone acknowledges it because
it makes you feel like you're doing something. You're making a difference.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about like, giving you a crown and getting on your knees. It's about just.
Mind a crown.
It's just a little things like, it's just a little thing like, hey, you know what, Amanda? That's pretty awesome that you're still here after 11 years. Good job.
You know what? I don't know if anybody said this to you, but I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it on record. I thank you. I'm not even in the fashion industry, but I thank you because just being a small business entrepreneur, just being an entrepreneur in itself, thank you, because you open so many doors and you're showing us other entrepreneurs that even through adversity, we can get through anything.
Yeah.
Right? So I do thank you.
And I think
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I thank you for being my friend. I thank you for being an example. And I thank you for being someone I can come to and talk to.
I love
coming
you.
on this. But I also just want to tell you that like I mentioned before, I think you define a strong woman.
Thank you.
I think that's amazing. So if no one else says it to you, and as we go through it, I know you're coming up to it, a very important pivoting moment in your life. You are so strong.
Thank you.
I think it's amazing to watch. And in the 2 years that I've known you, I've seen growth in you, emotional, mental, everything socially. So I love it. And
thank you guys.
I just think it's amazing. So
thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by today.
Of course.
He's like, I don't want to end it.
I'm like, it's real life because I had to bring my kids, and sometimes they're here, and
great.
But at the end of the day, like I come back anytime, and I love talking.
Yeah.
But I always feel like I always have a story to tell, no matter what it is, big or small. We all do, and I don't mind sharing my story. I don't mind sharing the stuff I've gone through or go through, business, whatever, and because it's real life.
We want to do more. So, this is the one Life podcast. So this is Mike's baby. Yeah. My baby is Socialholic, which is a little different.
Yeah.
But what the great part is that I know for a freaking fact that we barely just surfaced your story. Yeah. So that's the great part about having a podcast and having a TV show is that we'll be able to dig in deeper as many times as we need to, because I feel like we all have a story to tell, and it feels amazing. Sometimes people think of a podcast as therapy. Some of it feels as just a revolution or a moment to just be able to help another person. Or also, you don't know whose life that is going through something maybe similar to yours, that you talking about what you just accomplished in your life is going to make them want to stay around. And that's what I love about this. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, I guess what they say. And I think it's amazing. And this is why we're doing it, is because we want to really get to know the small businesses here in the community. And it doesn't stop in AV. We're trying to get this all over.
Of course.
Because I think that's important. So, and he thinks it's important. So.
No, absolutely. Like, I've been doing this for a couple of years, not the podcast, but just talking to people. Like, I love having conversations, and I talked a bit about this at your shop, right? That one time someone told me, just having a regular conversation with that guy at the airport, and saying, hey, man, thank you for that conversation. You just helped me, right? But it actually helped me as well. So you just never know, just having a conversation, telling your story.
I mean,
like, so today you telling your story, you don't know who you might touch. Even like if someone might not listen to this for another 6 months, right? You never know.
Yeah, and that's what I've always said. If I could change one person's life, then I know my second chance at life is worth it, and that's what I was meant to be, meant to do. And that's, I think, telling my story and helping people, and that's why I think I'm still here.
Right.
So
you guys, we do have a call-in number. If anybody ever want to talk to Diana and I, or just tell your story, just reach out to us, 747-999-8021, or you can reach us at, follow us and reach us at Instagram at 1NELife Brand, or you can reach Diana at Socialholic TV. Let's talk about it. Let's continue to have these great conversations, because you just never know who you're going to reach and whose life you might save. Right? You just never know. But again, thank you, Amanda from Sassy Couture. We truly appreciate it. Thank you, Diana, as always, the lovely Diana from Socialholic. What are we doing later? It's Thursday night karaoke. What's up?
I'm going to bed.
Hey, we are in the elevator. We are going back down to the lobby. Thank you again, you guys. I truly appreciate it. You guys have an incredible blessed day.